This is Josh's House, a comprehensive, sustainable suburban home project about our family home near Fremantle in Western Australia. Our home's designed to look, feel and cost the same as a typical 3x2 home, but it performs in a much better way. This series follows our journey, sharing everything we learn along the way to inspire a new direction for the houses we choose to build and the homes we choose to live in, for our health, happiness, hip pockets and our future. In this episode, we're getting into the garden to see how it's settled in and also what it's providing. We've been capturing some of the key garden moments over the past few months, including a big public event back in May. I'm having a busy day in the garden, getting ready for another open garden event. Now this project's always been about sharing, and that's exactly what the Open Gardens Australia program is all about. So I'm getting the place ready, but it's also a good time to give you a look around. The garden's now had a full year to settle in, and I'm really happy with how it's coming along. Everything got through their first scorching Perth summer, and that was down to good plant selection, good preparation, and of course, our reliable irrigation system using grey water and a shared bore, which means there's no mains water used on the garden, which for Perth is very unusual, given the average Perth home uses around 40% of its scheme water outside. One thing we did lose was the advanced tulip tree that I planted when we first moved in. It was most likely because of constricted roots, which is always a risk with advanced native trees, but we've replaced it with an iconic coolabah tree, or Eucalyptus victrix, which will look absolutely stunning. The garden in front of our house and the kids' play area is filling out beautifully, and I'm really wrapped with it. Now, I love a deadline, and with the Open Garden event coming up, I thought it was the perfect time to put in this sculptural trellis. Now, I've had this in mind since I first designed the garden, and the idea with it is that it's going to provide a trellis for vines, bougainvillea on one side and passion fruit on the other, to ramble up. And the idea is to screen the neighbour's roof and generally soften the space with greenery, but also kind of soften those quite harsh horizontal lines. Now, my mate Mirko's on the job. It's all been done out of repurposed steel, free-form, design and construct on the go. Awesome stuff. A standout feature for me is the nature play spaces, where our kids spend a lot of their time. The reality is, these types of spaces are a rarity in modern suburbs. In fact, many kids are left with no outdoor play spaces at all. To tell us more about the importance of this is Nature Play WA CEO, Griffin Longley. So, what do you think of the garden and the space?
I love it. I wish I was 10 years old. Mind you, look, a space like this is perfect for grown-ups too. And I think that's something that people miss too when they think about kids' spaces. They think of it as being this separate thing to an adult space, but the two can absolutely come together, and you've done it beautifully. Lots of spaces to be in, nothing that's going to get too destroyed by a kid tromping through. Love it.
And so tell us a bit about the nature play concept in sort of a broader sense.
Yeah, look, nature play is all about kids mucking around outside. What we're really trying to do is encourage a return to the kind of outside mucking around. You know, when your parents would say to you, Josh, they'd say, little Josh, go outside and be home by 5, or be home by dark, or be home by the time you're hungry. That's the kind of parenting that we're looking for some kind of return to. So where you can create a space at your home or at a school or somewhere where you feel safe for your kids to be and have that imaginative mucking around time, you're on the money.
So being a really keen, organic gardener and food grower, having the kids involved in the garden with me is one of the most satisfying things. How important do you see that?
Look, I can't imagine anything better for a parent and a child to do than be in the garden together. And there's lots of reasons for that. Look, one of the key things is just that opportunity to get your hands in the dirt. But that moment when you plant a seed and you see the seedling coming out and you actually engage in that, that's a fantastic thing. There's another thing about it too, Josh, that I think, with parents and kids being in the garden, doing something with them, beside them, shoulder to shoulder with them, you'll be amazed what will come out. When we stop and we square off and we say, now's the time to talk, we want to hear your thoughts, and you're less likely to get good information. So that moment of being together in the garden, engaged in the wonder of nature, getting your hands dirty, I couldn't think of anything better.
My little boy Ollie's 4, nearly 5 now, and you know, he and his sister Caitlin, who's nearly 2, just love the garden. You're out here all the time, aren't you, buddy? Helping me with the veggies and getting the eggs, and it's just so good for them to get out here and, you know, be... Okay, keep going, buddy. That's terrific. You know, pulling stuff straight out of the soil.
I'll start over here.
That's... Oh, here's another one. And there's nothing better than taking things straight from the garden into the kitchen, and it's a special treat for our first harvest of sweet potatoes in our garden. Is we're going to make some sweet potato wedges. What do you reckon? Check out that. I'll cut all those nibble bits off. Get rid of that because that's crap.
Hey, look, I'm scratching.
'Cause the land is green and the ocean's blue.
You know, a lot of people ask me whether growing your own veggies actually saves money, and it's a fair question. Well, firstly, there's a lot of other benefits that come from growing your own food, like, you know, spending time with your kids and all those wonderful lifelong habits they get from knowing where their food comes from and growing and cooking it themselves. But, you know, with this project, I'm always keeping an eye on the economics. So I've crunched a few numbers to give you an idea of how our project is stacking up. On average, we reckon we save around $50 per week on veggies, herbs and eggs. We spend around $500 a year on fertiliser and chook food, which means an annual net savings of $2,000. And that doesn't include the fruit that will come online from our trees and vines in the coming years.
She says what she's thinking. She don't give a damn. She don't know who I am.
Sharing experiences and learning together. That's what this project is all about, and I'm just so stoked to see that what we're doing is capturing the imagination of others and proving to me that all the effort is absolutely worthwhile. In the next episode of Josh's House, we start to put the pressure on. With our project being recognised and awarded right across the country, we ask what industry and government are doing in terms of accessible, affordable, sustainable homes and communities. And I visit a school that has made the Josh's House project their own. To see more images from the Open Gardens Australia Open Garden event and plenty more, go to joshshouse.com.au and have a look around. Sign up to our e-newsletter and like us on Facebook. Cheers.